What's up, Internet? My name's Andrew and welcome to 3DIY, the show where I pretend that I know enough about this shit to teach you how to do 3D printed DIY projects. For our first episode, I thought I'd show you guys how I stumbled through the process of making my own 3D printed Halloween decorations. Let's get started. As a quick disclaimer, I'd just like to point out that I have absolutely no idea what the f I'm doing, so A, don't learn too much from this video, just laugh at me. And B, if you have any advice or you just want to rant at how stupid I'm being, please, comments down below. That's exactly where you need to go. Okay, so our first 3D printed Halloween project is gonna be some flat wall decals, because honestly, I have no idea how to fucking use Blender, and something flat seems like it would be a lot easier than trying to model a three-dimensional object at first. So let's get started. All right, first we're gonna need references. So I'm just Googling the word spooky. Should probably add something more specific. I wanna look at spooky bats. Too weird looking. Yeah, I like that one. Okay, cool, I'm gonna base my bat design off of this. So with that happily on my tablet next to the screen here, I'm gonna start modeling this motherfucker. There are a lot of different softwares out there for 3D modeling, but Blender's free and open source, so I'm gonna go with that. All right, so the first thing you see when you open a new Blender file is this stupid fucking cube. So I'm gonna get rid of that because I want something flat, just a plane to work from at first. All right, so now that I have my plane, I'm gonna subdivide it into a bunch of smaller segments so that I can manipulate this into the shape of a bat. All right, after briefly Googling how to do symmetry in Blender, I decided, f it, I'm just gonna make one half and do it that way. If any of you know a better way for me to do this, please let me know in the comments. I'd like to reiterate again that I have no idea what the f I'm doing here. Okay, new strategy. One wing at a time. And instead of just dividing the mesh a whole bunch of times like I did on my last run, what I'm gonna do is just try to add points as I go. And maybe that'll be a little less intimidating. So the game plan at this point is just to subdivide all of these line segments and kind of round it out until I get something that approximately shapes itself like a bat. Okay, right around this point, I'm getting something that approximately looks like a bat, but the problem here isn't exactly my technical skill, it's my ability to know what the f a bat wing is supposed to look like, so I'm gonna ask my beautiful girlfriend Julie for some assistance. She's really good at helping me with this kind of shit. All right, just fine-tuning the shape a little bit to look more like the reference. And this is going really well. This is actually starting to look like a bat. All right, now that I've got a shape that I'm pretty much happy with, I'm gonna duplicate the wing and flip it over so I've got two of the same thing. Now I just connect the points. Okay, perfect. Now if I was Ozzy Osbourne, this would be done, but since I like heads on my bats, I think I'm gonna keep going. All right, I didn't want this bat to look too vicious, so I thought I'd go with some kind of cute rounded shapes on the head, and I think it worked out pretty well. So right around this point, I'm starting to like the shape of my ear a little bit too much, so I said, f it, I'm just gonna readjust the shape of this bat on the one side a little bit more, make sure it's looking perfect, and I'm gonna flip it, because I can't be bothered to try and replicate my work on that other ear. So I readjusted the wings and the feet and whatever the f else is going on here, this little middle bit, I don't know what the f you call that. And I'm thinking it's looking pretty good. Huh, yeah, I'm actually surprised by how much this looks like a bat. Self 5. All right, now I just gotta extrude it to give it a little bit of thickness. After making sure that all of these faces are pointed the right way so that the bat isn't inside out, again, something Ozzy Osbourne would like, but I'm not a huge fan of, it's time to make the eyes. Man, I'm being really mean to Ozzy Osbourne right now. He's not watching, f it. Okay, now to make some spooky eyes. Don't know why I started with a cube here when all I wanted was one face of it, but again, I really don't know what I'm doing. So for these eyes, I was looking for something a little bit more scary and Julie was looking for something a little bit more cute, so I thought I'd meet somewhere in the middle and give it kind of a spooky cute sort of vibe. Spoopy, if you will. So this is really just a bunch of trial and error, just adjusting various points and seeing what I come up with. Oh, that's too mean. And where'd my bat go? Help! Someone stole my bat! Where the fuck is my bat? Oh, okay, I got it. Don't ask me why that happened, or how I fixed it. In fact, please tell me why it happened and how I fixed it. I really need to know. Someone please help. All right, now that I've got these eyes to approximately the shape I want, I'm gonna extrude them so that they're a little bit thick, make them a different color finally so I can fucking see the difference. And I'm gonna use these eyes like cookie cutters to get the shape out of the bat. And voila, a bat with eyes. Wait, why the fuck are there holes here? Okay. I guess I'll fix those. Cool, all good. Man, is that cute. Wait, did I make that? Okay. Now that that's done, we can send the bats to the printer. Julie and I spent a lot of time trying to figure out exactly which 3D printer we should get for our budget. We ended up settling on this printer from Tech, which is basically a copy of the MakerBot Replicator Duo. You might think just because these are some flat bats that this isn't going to take a while, but printer says it's going to take another hour and a half, so we'll come back to this in a little bit. Alright, so I took the bats out of the 3D printer after prying them off of the build plate, and on close examination I noticed that there's these weird strings of plastic between the wings. I don't quite know why that happened, but it seems like the outer layer kind of constricted while it was printing, but f it, it doesn't really affect the bats that much, so I'm gonna go with that and just cut off these little bits. And our spooky bats are done, ready to be put on the wall. Okay, so now that the easy project is out of the way, we can move on to something a little more challenging. Let's try something that's just slightly out of my league. In lieu of actually carving a jack-o'-lantern this year, I thought, why not just 3D print it, right? I've got orange filament lying around. Let's do this. All right, now the easy one's done. Let's do something harder. Our next spooky Halloween decoration is some cute little jack-o'-lanterns. Okay, if I gave you the impression that I actually knew what I was doing before, this is gonna finally shatter that illusion. Time to try to make a pumpkin. Alright, if I'm perfectly honest here, I tried a whole bunch of different shit before I got this pumpkin to actually work. Alright, so I don't know much, but I know that I should start with one of these segmented spheres, because that's a default object and that has approximately the size and shape that I'm looking for here. And I can choose how many segments, which is perfect because I already know I want a pumpkin with 10 segments. Okay, so my first idea is to try to round one of these segments and kind of turn that into the rounded pumpkin segment shape and then duplicate that. So that's what I'm gonna try right now. Okay, yeah, that's actually kind of looking like a pumpkin segment. I'm pretty happy with that. Wait a minute, how did this get lopsided? This isn't level anymore. I don't know what I did. Okay, well, I guess I better delete it and start again. Okay, trying this one more time. Rounding out this one segment, and you know, doing it a little differently than last time. Don't really know what I did last time, so just kind of winging it. And yeah, that's looking good. All right, so I'm gonna delete the rest of it, and now I've got myself a little orange slice. Okay, yeah, that looks approximately like what I had before, right? Right? Good enough. Okay. So let me just select everything but that and delete it, and yeah, that looks like a pretty solid pumpkin slice. Wait, no, past Andrew, what the f are you doing? Why are you stretching that way? If you do that, they won't line up. And kids, that's exactly what happened. When I tried to put all of these segment pieces together, I noticed there was this weird little gap. In hindsight, I see why that happened. At the time, I had no f***ing clue. This was extremely painful. I kept trying anyway for some reason. I really should have stopped when I saw they weren't lining up, but apparently I thought I could make that work anyway. Let's not worry about that too much. I'm just gonna scrap this and try again, okay? Okay. All right, this time around I tried using the proportional edit tool to give me a little bit of a rounded shape when I brought those top points down, and it looks a little bit more like a pumpkin. All right, maybe I'm going a little bit overboard with that proportional edit. That's better. So the idea with this one was to just kinda shape every segment without any of that copy-paste bullshit. And, you know, it's working out okay so far. It's not the most glamorous way to get things done, but hey, it works, I think. No, this is definitely starting to look a little odd. Wait, no, this is too hard. Why, everything's getting all messed up looking. I don't really know what I'm doing anymore. This is more of a gourd than a pumpkin. I think I'm gonna give up on this one too. Don't be afraid to give up, folks. Andrew's life lessons. Don't be afraid to just quit. Okay, this time I had another Brilliant idea. I'm just fucking full of those. Alright, this time around, I'm gonna use a sphere with significantly more segments and then make my own big segments by selecting these rows of points all the way from the top to the bottom in a wheel spoke pattern using a little bit of math. Don't worry about it, it's not that hard. So now, if I'm right about this, all I have to do is scale these points that I have selected, and that looks like a pumpkin. Holy shit, that looks like a pumpkin. Julie, it looks like a pumpkin. I don't know what I did, but it looks like a pumpkin. Huzzah, pumpkin. All right, I am saving that shit and painting it a celebratory orange. Those other shitty pumpkins didn't deserve orange. All right, now this pumpkin needs a stem. This part I think is actually gonna be pretty easy. So I've got this big circly segment in the middle. All right, so I'm just gonna take this middle segment, kind of extrude it, shrink it, rotate it a little bit, segment by segment, and yeah, that actually looks a lot like a pumpkin stem. Okay, I gotta level with you guys. I really fucked this next part up. Basically, I tried to add thickness to the pumpkin like a couple of times, and after I cut the lid out, and then I kind of went around and tried to clean up this weird gap between the two things. I spent a lot of time doing this. It was a bad idea. I needed to start again. And so that would have been the wise thing to do. But what I ended up doing was deleting all of the extra faces and then thickening up the pumpkin and lid separately. Don't do that. Thicken the whole thing first, then cut out the lid. Whew. Well, now that I'm done with that ordeal, I can finally move on to actually doing the fun part, the faces. All right, so we're gonna make 3 jack-o'-lanterns. Let's start with the basic one. This one, I was kind of going for like just your standard scary jack-o'-lantern face. Oh, it kind of looks like the Joker right now. Let's fix that up. Yeah, give it some fangs, a couple of bottom fangs. Could be a vampire, who knows? And once we're done with that, then I'm just going to go out and extrude that so that it cuts right through the face of the pumpkin. And hopefully, yeah, that looks pretty dang good. Just a couple of stray faces that didn't get quite cut out properly, so I gotta go in and clean those up. And once we're done with that, our scary jack-o'-lantern is finished. All right, next up, Julie wanted me to make her a cat jack-o'-lantern, which I think is just freaking adorable. All right, so the first thing a cat jack-o'-lantern needs is some cute little ears. So I'm just gonna pull up some triangles out of the corner, and that looks pretty cute. Same deal with the previous jack-o'-lantern. I just made some flat faces in front of the pumpkin in the shapes that I wanted to cut out. Julie wanted a little heart-shaped nose, so I spent a little extra time trying to get that perfect. And this part, I very much regret the whiskers. They may look cute here in the software, but cleaning the support material out of these tiny little crevices was not fun. Next time I make something like this, I'm definitely gonna go with a little bit thicker on the whiskers so I have more room to get my knife in there. So now that those are all cut out, it's time to move on to the third pumpkin. Hat whoop, false alarm. I decided I was gonna come back in and fix up these ears a bit. They looked a little bit too much like horns for my liking, so I thought I'd come in and kinda give them that little bit of a concave effect like a cat's ear does, and that looks a lot better. Okay, for real this time, moving on to the third pumpkin. This was another one of Julie's designs. Basically, what we were going for was kind of a cutesy little pumpkin sticking its tongue out. For the mouth, I thought I'd use the topology of the pumpkin to my advantage and give it some chubby little cheeks, so I lined up the corners of the mouth right with those grooves, and I thought it looked just adorable. Okay, now for the part that I had the absolute least confidence in, the tongue. I'm still not quite sure what I did here, but basically I dragged out a section of the mouth and really tediously adjusted all of these little bits until it made sort of a tongue shape. Again, I don't really know what I'm doing here. And then I rotated it and it got all bumpy, but it was sticking out more, so that's good. And yeah, I just kind of fiddled around with this until it made some kind of sense. I'm still not sure it does. You know, it's a tongue and that's what I was trying to go for, so I'm calling it a day. And this last step, which I regret not applying to all the pumpkins, was to flatten out the bottom. I printed out the first pumpkin and it was just like a royal pain in the ass to get all of the support material out of the like crevices and nodules of the bottom. So I figured fuck it, I'd just cut it off and make it a lot easier for myself. And then I did the same thing with the lid. All right, now that the hard part's over, I get to sit back and watch these print. First up, I've got to level the bed. I can't overstate how important this part is. I have had so many prints completely fuck up because I didn't level the bed properly. It just doesn't come out right. Just level your bets, folks. And now we wait. No, seriously, each of these pumpkins took like 7 hours to print out. There was a lot of waiting going on. Right around this point in the first pumpkin's printing, I noticed that the eyes didn't have any support material in them. It didn't turn out too bad, but you can see some weird overhang business in that top left eye. At some point I might consider trying to figure out how to make the supports myself without just having them auto-generate from the Makerware software, but fuck that, that's a job for another day. So when I got the pumpkins off the printer, I noticed that the insides actually look exactly like the insides of an actual pumpkin because of all of this support material. And so I had to actually scoop that out, just like a real pumpkin. Remind me again why I didn't just buy pumpkins? Seriously though, this process was painstaking and I couldn't figure out whether I wanted to use my hands, or go with this stupid spoon joke, or use this knife. It was a real pain in the ass. So remember earlier when I said that I didn't flatten the bottom of one of the pumpkins and it was really hard to get the support off? This would be that pumpkin. As you can see, it was more than a little bit of a struggle trying to get this crap off. But eventually I was able to get it mostly off, and I only sort of cut myself once. Alright, I think this is what Simply Nailogical would refer to as peel porn. It's no fun to do, but it's very satisfying watching this crap come off. But seriously though, ow, my fingers. See, you'd think the support material would be easy to remove, but it's just made of the same plastic as the rest of it. It's kind of just like pulling a plastic object apart bit by bit. So in the end, getting all of the support material off of these stupid little plastic pumpkins turned out to be a hell of a lot more work than just going out to the store, buying a pumpkin, and carving it myself. I'll let you be the judge on whether or not this was a good idea. But at least we'll have them forever. Okay, so I know that the theme of this channel is 3D printed DIYs, but I gotta level with you. Cleaning out the support material off of those pumpkins was legitimately harder than just going to the store and carving an actual pumpkin. What am I doing? I'm done. Disclaimer, don't use an actual candle inside of 3D printed plastic parts, okay? If you do, your house will burn down and you will die. For this project, I went to the dollar store and got some cool to the touch LED lights with a little bit of a fake candle light flicker to them, and those are gonna work just fine for this project. Alright, thanks for watching this very first episode of 3DIY, everybody. I know I did a shit job, but please let me know exactly how shit a job I did in the comments down below, / give me compliments if that's what you're in the mood for. Don't forget to subscribe, click that like button, and let us know in the comments down below if you have any suggestions for future episodes. Andrew Love, out. Did I duck far enough?
Yep.